Hello everyone, and welcome to the Henchman's Memoirs. This is our 5e Dark Souls of Drakkenheim campaign recap, and we are now back into the main book of Dungeons of Drakkenheim. We've gotten past some of my custom created content that I was using to sort of fill in some of these mid-levels, and we're back into the main story. The party has reached the Smithy on the Scar, and they're there to help out the dwarves that are mining delirium up there. And what they find when they get there, they hear the sound of cannons and rifle blasts being fired before they even get close. But as they get up close enough to see what's actually happening, it's a bunch of these gnolls, which they call, I think, Garmyr or something like that in the main book. But they're basically gnolls under the control of the Lord of the Feast, and they're launching a major attack here against the Smithy on the Scar. So I was able to get out my gnoll minis that I have, or gnoll Pathfinder pawns that I have in perfusion, and the party was over here again on the table. This distances were a little bigger, but it's hard to fit everything into this camera. So the party arrives, they see what's happening, and again, Nexel's answer to everything is fireball in the first round. He's 7th level now, and he just can't get enough of this fireball stuff. So what I was doing here, as you guys have seen in previous encounters, I was using Matt Colville's Flee Mortals stats for gnolls in that book. And I have to say, as much as I've sung the praises of that book, if I do have a criticism of it, it's that the CRs they're a little low. The monsters really punch above their challenge rating in the Flee Mortals book. I had them being led by a gore bull that I'm actually getting the stats from a fan-made Witcher 5e book. So that I can't saddle Matt Colville's team with the stats for this guy, but the stats for these gnolls. Here's basically what happened. I set up a bunch of gnoll minions, and I just want to stress for the listeners, I balanced this encounter using the how to make a balanced encounter rules in Flee Mortals. I specifically went through, normally I don't like to put that much prep in. I'm a low prep DM. I just want to look at the CR and throw a couple of, into an encounter. But this time I was trying to really follow the steps in Flee Mortals to see if I was doing something wrong. So I built this encounter 100% using their rules, except that this guy isn't from their book. But I used the CR that the fan-made product had given for him in the calculation. So these guys are all minions. These guys are like CR4 kind of brutes, and then he was, I don't remember, CR6 or something like that. So the party gets in here. Nexel gets off a fireball that, of course, these guys are minions, right? So, he cleans up a bunch of them in no time. And then Thaddeus, who's mad with power now that he's reached 7th level, he hits my gore bull with a polymorph spell. Okay, and polymorphs him into basically a centipede. Okay, he doesn't get a save at the end of every one of his rounds. He doesn't get squat. As long as Nexel is able to maintain concentration, he is out of the fight. So, buoyed in his confidence by how easily all these minions went down, Pietor runs up here and decides he's going to knock down these two gnolls. Well, of course, these are those CR4 brutes. And the reason I say they might be a little overpowered, basically they get 2 attacks. They have a flail. If they hit you with the flail, you're grappled and restrained. And then they are able to follow up. So you take damage from that. Then they're able to follow up with their bite. And their bite against the restrained target does like an additional 2d8 plus 4 damage. Okay? So you've already taken a d6 plus something from the flail, and then you're taking 3d6 or 3d8, whatever it was, from the bite. And of course, there's two of them trying to take care of poor Pietro. So he gets up here, he uses some of his ki, he's kicking and flailing around. I'm pretty sure this is where I rolled a critical hit against him. There was one critical hit in this fight that Nexel was able to silvery barbs, but they were able to really put a hurting on Peter without too much mussing and fussing. So Atticus is going to try to come in and help him out, and this other gnoll intercepts him. And again, once you're grappled and restrained, you're at disadvantage, and I'm really unleashing the damage here. And I can't remember, Nexel got off some more spells. There might have been some more enemies that were still running around. He's picking some guys off. He has to maintain concentration on this. So when these two guys getting 4 attacks around at advantage because he's restrained, they were able to put him down, and then this critical moment came. So the henchman is an old school DM. I like to play hard and let the chips fall where they may. That's the old school philosophy. Generally, I don't have monsters try to finish off a hero that's bleeding out and hovering at death's door. It's just not fun, and it's also not very realistic. It's not a very good use of their actions. But these guys worship Yinogu. These guys are vicious, and they also, the other reason they were punching above their weight, they get all these reactions. Every time one of them drops to 0 hit points, they get to move up to their speed and make a single attack. Well, when you finish off all of these little minions over here, each one of them triggers that ability. So that, again, just amplifies the action economy. Well, so I decided just to roll evens or odds, and if he got it wrong, they were going to attack him while he was down. So we had to look up the rules for attacking somebody while they're down. This guy comes over here. This guy decides to attack Peter while he's down. He got, I think he actually rolled, so he gets advantage. He rolled low enough on both of the dice to miss the unconscious Peter. Or basically, he's not missing him, but not doing significant damage on his first attack. His second attack gets him, puts him down 2 death saves, and then he's going to come over here and take the fight to the enemy. So now Pietro has the parapet of wound closure, so he's stabilized at 2 failed death saves. But his player's out of the action, and they're trying to fight these guys. Nexel turns into a not huge. What's the next one up from huge? Like a gargantuan constrictor snake, and they're fighting to finish this guy off. But they're in a tight situation. The action economy is against them because now one of their main fighter types is down, and they still have 2 or 3 of these gnoll brutes coming up against them. We were running low on time. I did bring into the mix that the dwarves, the Smithy on the Scar is over here, right? And I did bring in that now the dwarves are using their muskets, and they're trying to help the party out by shooting at some of these guys. But unfortunately, we had to pause and leave things in the middle of a fight because it was late and we're all old men, and we have work the next day. So if you want to see how this fight turns out and what happens at the Smithy on the Scar, you're going to have to give us a like. If we don't get enough likes and views on these videos, we're just going to quit making them. So if you want to find out what happens, please do that, and join us next time for the Henchman's Memoirs.